Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jael Haq Jidan. My ID is 1913544. According to my ID, my presentation topic is Public Key Certificate from the course Information System Security. According to this topic, today I will present my presentation. So without further ado, let's get started. So index, here is the index of today's presentation. Mainly what I will gonna cover in this whole presentation. First, I will cover what is a key certificate, then I will cover how does a public key certificate work, then I will cover key management public, then distribution of public key, then digital certificate, then public key certificates, then certificate authentication, authorities, then public key certificate graphical explanation, which is very visual to understand the key certificate, then advantage and disadvantage of public key certificate. So let's start with what is a key certificate. Mainly, a public key certificate is digitally signed document that serves to delegate the sender's authorization and name. It uses a cryptographic structure that binds a public key to an entity such as user or organization. Now we will know how does actually a public key certificate work. Public key certificate mainly work from a part of a public key infrastructure that is called PKI system that uses encryption technology to secure messages and data. A public key certificate uses a pair of encryption keys, one public and one private. The public key is made available to anyone who wants to verify the identity of the certificate holder. Well, the private key is a unique key that is kept secret. This enables the certificate holder to directly sign document, emails and other information without a third party being able to impersonate them. So we know how actually public key certificate work. Now we will know key management for public key certificate. Actually, how key management works. Actually, public key encryption helps address key distribution problem. Then have two aspects of this. One is distribution of public key, then use of public key encryption to distribute secret keys. Distribution of public key. Distribution of public key mainly four types that are public announcement, then publicly available directory, third is public key authority, fourth is public key certificate, and that is our topic of today's presentation to cover, that is public key certificate. So now we will know digital certificate. To encrypt using a receiver's public key, the sender needs to be assured that the public key used corresponds to the private key of the receiver. To verify a signature, a verifier needs to be assured that the public key used corresponds to the private key of the signer. The electronic document that attached to the ownership of a public key is called a certificate. How it works? Mainly, certificate works with an entity called certificate authority, that is called CA. Everyone trusts the certificate issued by the CA, that is certificate authority. CA has a public key which is publicly known. Built in all the web browser. Mainly CA is built in all the web browser. CA issues a certificate by generating a signature on the public key and the identity of its owner. Only CA can create a certificate. Anyone determine the user ID of a certificate owner. Anyone can verify the authenticity of the certificate using CA's public key. CA means Certificate Authority's public key. Anyone can verify the validity of a certificate by expire date. Now we will know public key certificates. Public key certificates actually allow key exchange without real-time access to public key authority. A certificate binds the identity, that is, the public key pair owner, to a public key, usually with other info such as period of validity, rights of user, rights of use, etc., with all contents signed by a trusted public key or certificate authority (CA), then can be verified by anyone who knows CA's public key. Here is the verification process that we see here. Here LI's ID is shown and the public key of LI's is shown, and here is the verification process. It's like an example. Then so each user only needs to maintain a valid CS public key. So here it is the public key certificates rules actually. Then here we will see the certification authorities. Certification authority, actually CA, binds public key to particular entity E. E, person root, register its public key with CA. E provides proof of identity to CA. CA creates certificate blinding E to its public key. Certificate contain E's public key digitally signed by CA. CA says this is E's public key. Here in the diagram we see Bob's public key, that is PKB, and Bob's identity information will go through digital signature encryption. In this process, CA private key, that is RKCA, is also involved. After digital signature encryption, we will see here will generate certificate for Bob's public key, which is signed by CA. Now here certificate authorities. Mainly certificate authorities, when LIS wants Bob public key, then certificate authority gets Bob certificate, Bob or elsewhere, then apply certificate authority public key to Bob's certificate, get Bob public key. Here mainly digital signature description process will shown in this diagram according to CA public key, and after this description the Bob public key will generate. Here we will see the verify the public key of a web server. Here we see web browser, then web server. In the middle, web browser and web server is the internet. In this scenario, the web browser has CS public key built in. In practice, there could have several trusted CS for each web browser. New CS can also be installed by user. The legitimacy of the web browser software becomes crucial for ensuring the security of digital certificates. A certificate is no more secure than the security of the web browser. Downside: pre-installed CA. Here is the example of some pre-installed CA which I mentioned in verify the public key of web server here. So here is the example pre-installed of CS. Then we will see actually how the certificate looks like. In certificate there will be a username, then certificate version, then validity period, then serial number, user public key, then other user attributes, then CA name, then CA signature. Here in username usually the user's name will here, and here is the name is login yahoo.com, then certificate version is v3, validity period, here is the date, then serial number, here is also a number, then user's public key, then other all the values is here. Mainly this is the visual expression of a certificate. This way the certificate looks like. Now here is a diagram of a public key certificate. Here we see LIS. Here we see LIS ID and public key of LIS will go to certificate authority. then certificate authority will return the certificate of alias. And on the other hand, we see Bob ID and Bob public key will go to certificate authority, then certificate authority will return the certificate of Bob. Then the certificate of alias is go to Bob, and certificate of Bob is go to alias. This is the whole process of public key certificate. Then we will see the advantage and disadvantage of public key certificate. The main advantage of using public key certificate is that they enable secure authentication. The integrity of public key certificate is guaranteed by the CA. Further, this type of certificate prevents man-in-the-middle attacks, which occur when a malicious third party interrupts the communication between two entities. The biggest disadvantage of public key certificate is a lack of control over the encryption key. This means that if the certificate is compromised, it cannot be revoked. Someone could hack into the server to steal the certificate and use the public key in the certificate to decrypt any information that was encrypted by the public key. So it was my short presentation about public key certificate. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Have a good day.